Heartwarming twist, little girl wrongly accused of one theft finds incredible hope when Millionai. In a small Midwestern town where sunshine often kissed the streets, 10-year-old Lily Anderson played just outside the local grocery store. With wild curls bouncing and a big smile, she radiated the kind of joy that made everyone stop to say hello. However, whispers of financial struggles loomed over the town like dark clouds. Many families were barely making ends meet, including Lily's, raised by her hardworking single mother, who juggled 2 jobs. Lily learned to dream amidst the challenge. She envisioned a community garden, a place to grow food, and perhaps even friendships, a beautiful connection for her neighbors who sometimes seemed divided by economic struggles. But one sunny afternoon, as laughter echoed around her, Lily felt the ground shake beneath her feet. The store manager accused her of stealing $1 from the register. Shock froze her heart, as if someone had just doused her in cold water. How could it be true? People she thought she knew whispered behind her back, judgment seeping into the air like a thick fog. How could a little girl do such a thing, they thought. The very fabric of her innocent world seemed to unravel as the community's trust, once her safety net, withered like autumn leaves. Her mother, always her rock, visibly crumbled under the weight of societal expectations, the judgment of others pressing down like a crushing wave. Tears pooled in Lily's eyes. Each step through the neighborhood felt heavier, each friendly wave now tinged with uncertainty. Why would they think I'd steal? She wondered desperately, searching for answers in the faces that once beamed kindness. Just as despair threatened to swallow her whole, hope arrived in the form of an unexpected hero. Barry Thompson, a millionaire entrepreneur with roots in the very streets that Lily called home, caught wind of her plight. Once a working-class champion, he understood the petty judgment and stigma of class divides. Moved by her story, he forged a path into Lily's life, offering his support and wisdom. "Let us set this straight," he assured, eyes gleaming with determination. "You matter. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. With Barry's encouragement, Lily's confidence began to blossom. She rallied her friends, sharing her story and advocating for the misunderstood, igniting a fire of solidarity. "We can change our town," she declared. Her small circle of classmates grew, voices raised in harmony against the injustices they faced. But just when hope flickered brightly, an unseen shadow loomed in the crowd, reminding her of the dark truth behind the class inequality, the fear of being unknown or judged. As Lily took a deep breath, standing in front of friends, families, and neighbors, a moment of great tension hung in the air. She was torn, the whispers of her town echoed in her chest, urging her forward but holding her back. Would she summon the courage to lay bare her heart, to challenge not just the accusation but the biases of those who might not understand? In that stirring moment, she locked eyes with someone in the back of the crowd, their expression unreadable, leaving her with a growing sense of dread and the question, was this the moment to reclaim her story, or the moment that would change everything forever? Lily stood before the crowd, her heart racing like a freight train. Every eye felt like a spotlight, piercing through her, exposing her insecurities. She took another deep breath, the air heavy with anticipation. In that moment, she understood, this wasn't just about her. It was about everyone who had felt small or misunderstood. "Listen," she began, her voice shaky but resolute. "I didn't steal that money. I would never do that." She glanced at her mother, who stood nearby, tears clinging to her lashes but pride illuminating her face just a bit. That gave Lily strength. "I'm just a kid. A kid who wants to make a difference. I want to bring our community together." An unexpected murmur spread through the crowd, a blend of surprise and curiosity. She could see the faces of her friends, nodding in solidarity. They believed her. But the doubts from others still loomed large. I've seen how hard my mom works and how stressed we all are. We're all struggling," she continued, her voice growing stronger. "Instead of believing the worst of each other, why can't we support each other? Instead of pointing fingers, let us give a hand." With each word, Lily felt the burden of despair lifting, replaced with fierce determination. She could see Barry at the front, his smile encouraging her to push forward. A woman from the back shouted, "What do you want us to do?" Lily paused, thinking hard. "I want to create a community garden. We can grow food and share it. It could be a place where we all come together, work, and find joy despite our struggles. It can be a fresh start for all of us." The crowd began to stir, conversation sprouting like seeds. A man named Mr. Jenkins, who was known for his grumpy exterior but soft heart, stepped up. "I have some old tools in my shed," he said gruffly, though Lily could see the hint of a smile. "I can help." Then, Mrs. Collins, the elderly woman from 3 doors down, joined in. "I have a sunny spot in my yard that could fit some plants." Each voice that joined in swelled the air with hope. Slowly, Lily felt herself fill with an electricity she had only known in her dreams. Yet, in the back of the crowd, someone remained silent, their gaze still uncomfortable, appraising. It was the store manager, Mr. Finch, who had accused her. His face was somewhere between confusion and regret, and she felt the weight of staring contest between them. Did he see her as the child he had wrongly judged, or would he continue to let pride cloud his vision? "Mr. Finch," she called out, breaking the tension in the air, "I know this is hard for you too. But we can do better. We can be better." A fissure seemed to form in the atmosphere, all eyes resting on him. She held her breath, fear gripping her as the world around her quieted. And there they stood, with a million thoughts left unspoken. Would Mr. Finch acknowledge his error? Would he step forward, embracing not just her plea, but the community's chance for redemption? Her heart thumped loudly as the crowd leaned closer, everyone holding their collective breath, waiting for an answer that could change everything. Mr. Finch shifted his weight from one foot to the other, the muscles in his jaw tightening while the crowd's expectant gazes bore down on him. Silence stretched like a taut string, and Lily felt a bead of sweat trickle down her back. If he faltered now, all this hope could slip away. That he squared his shoulders, tilting his head slightly as if weighing his words carefully. The lines around his mouth deepened, and for a brief moment, Lily thought he might walk away. But there was something in the way the community held its breath, as if they were all willing him to find the courage to be better. "Lily," he finally said, his tone a mixture of weariness and something softer. "I never should have judged you without evidence. I let my assumptions cloud my judgment." His gaze flickered downward as if the weight of his words pressed against him. The crowd murmured, some exchanging looks of shock mixed with awe. Lily's heart soared. She had never expected an apology, but here it was, hanging in the air like a fragile ornament. Mr. Finch continued, "I put too much stock in my own fears and not enough in the people around me. I can understand that," a voice chimed from the back. It was Mrs. Davis, the librarian, who often seemed invisible in the bustle of daily life. "We all have our moments. We're not alone in feeling uncertain or scared." Lily glanced at her mother, now fully beaming with relief and pride. This was the moment she had dreamed of, a real community coming together, finding their shared humanity. Lily felt renewed energy surge through her. They were ready to move forward. Finch cleared his throat, folding his hands. "I stand corrected, and I would like to support this garden idea. You have my commitment to help donate supplies and resources." A cheer erupted from the crowd. Lily couldn't help herself, she let a smile break through her nerves. This couldn't be real. A community where people believed in each other. As they began to discuss plans for the garden, voices overlapped in excited chatter. Ideas flowed like water bursting from a dam. What to plant, who would bring seeds, and when they could start digging. Lily felt like a conductor guiding an orchestra, her heart pounding to the rhythm of collective hope. Yet, just as the joy filled the air, a shadow crossed over her thrill. She realized every light casts a shadow. What would happen once the excitement faded? Would people remember the lessons of trust and connection? Or would they go back to their corners, forgetting the bond formed in those few minutes? As the meeting wound down, Lily caught Mr. Finch's gaze again. "Thank you for believing in us," she said softly, her voice almost lost amidst the noise. "But it can't just stay today. We need to keep believing." He nodded, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly, although there was still a weight to his eyes. "You're right," he replied. "This isn't a one-time thing. We need a way to ensure our community stays together." What could that look like? As more ideas bubbled among the crowd, Lily pondered the possibilities, her mind racing. Suddenly, a thought struck her. What if they created a community board where everyone could share ideas and thoughts, a space for growth and connection? Would they take it further? Just then, a shriek of laughter cut through the air, and she turned to see Barry running with a handful of seeds, trying to dodge another friend. They were full of life, full of hope, and it wrapped around her like a warm hug. But off to the side, she noticed someone watching from a distance, a boy she knew from school, Nathan, who often kept to himself. He looked skeptical, arms crossed tight. Even amongst laughter, it was clear he was feeling included. What if he felt the same way she had felt before, the way she first stood up there, alone and vulnerable? Maybe this was bigger than just a garden. Maybe this was about reaching every single person in their community. Her heart raced at the thought. How could she extend this feeling of belonging to everyone? With all of that bubbling inside her, Lily took a deep breath, ready to reach out to Nathan and take a step toward bringing everyone together, even those who were still unsure. Lily took a step towards Nathan, her resolve steadying her nerves. She could see his brows knitted together, uncertainty clouding his features. He was usually so quiet in class, avoiding eye contact and blending into the background, but now, in the midst of this vibrant crowd, he looked isolated. "Hey, Nathan!" she called, her voice rising above the cheer of the gathering. The laughter seemed to hush for a moment, and his head snapped towards her. "What do you want?" he asked defensively, his arms crossed even tighter now. Lily hesitated, her heart pounding. "I just thought if you wanted to help with the garden." His expression didn't change. "Why would I want to do that?" she plunged ahead. "Because it's not just about planting flowers. It's about bringing people together. Everyone deserves to feel included, like they matter." An eyebrow raised, Nathan considered her words, skepticism still etched on his face. "You think I'd make a difference?" "I know you would." Lily's enthusiasm bubbled over. "Everyone has something special to bring, even if they don't see it yet. Just like Mr. Finch did today." For just a flicker of a moment, Lily thought she saw a crack in Nathan's armor, a hint of curiosity in his eyes. But it faded as quickly as it appeared. "I don't know, it sounds kind of dumb," he muttered, looking away. Disappointment pierced her, but she refused to back down. As she opened her mouth to reply, Mrs. Davis joined them, her presence calming and warm. "You know, Nathan," she chimed in gently, "I understand why you might feel that way. Change can be scary, and it's easy to feel disconnected when everyone seems like they're moving forward without you." She caught his gaze, her eyes earnest. "But sometimes, taking that first step into something new can open a door you never knew existed." Lily felt the weight of truth in her words. Mrs. Davis had a way with reaching people, her kindness radiating from her like sunlight. It was infectious, and slowly, Nathan's shoulders began to relax. "What if we all work together?" Lily suggested, eager to seize the moment. "You, me, and the whole community making this garden happen. It's a chance to be part of something." Nathan's brow furrowed as he mulled it over. The wheels were turning in his head, she could see that much. But doubt still flickered in his eyes, waiting for a push of encouragement to either take a leap or retreat back into his shell. Lily took a small step closer to him. "I promise, it's going to be fun. You can choose what to plant. Imagine having a say in how it looks, where people gather, and even making new friends." There was a softness creeping into Nathan's expression now, but it was overshadowed by the weight of confusion and fear. Before he could respond, Barry and a few others rushed in, their energy infectious. "What is going on over here?" Barry asked, clearly excited about the setup. The energy in the air was palpable, like electric currents charged with the potential for something amazing. Nathan glanced at the cheerful group, then back at Lily. "I'll think about it," he said, his tone softer but still uncertain as the others swarmed around them, filling the space with anticipation and joy. That little spark of hope made Lily's heart swell. She could see it in his eyes, even if he didn't fully embrace it yet. If Nathan could just open that door a little wider, he would see the beauty waiting on the other side. As the afternoon sun dipped lower in the sky, illuminating the faces in the crowd with golden light, Lily knew this was only the beginning. She had found new courage within herself, and for the first time in a long while, she felt like they could handle whatever came next. But suddenly, the sound of a loud crash interrupted her thoughts. A ruckus erupted from the corner of the park, and heads turned with surprise and concern. "What's happening?" someone shouted. Lily's stomach dropped. She glanced back at Nathan before running toward the noise, her steps quickening. Whatever it was, she sensed it was going to test the fragile peace they had just begun to build. What could it be, and would it pull them apart before they even had a chance? Lily pushed through the gathering crowd, her heart racing. The crashing sound had sent a wave of unease rippling through the group, and she could feel the tension hanging in the air. What could have caused such chaos? As she got closer, the scene unfurled before her like a low-budget film playing out in real life. A small table had toppled over, scattering colorful trays filled with cookies, cupcakes, and other delicious treats. The sweet aroma that usually brought smiles now hung heavy in the air like disappointment. "What happened?" Lily asked, breathless as she reached the front. A little girl stood in the center of it all, her face scrunched up in confusion and fear. She couldn't have been more than 7. Torn between sobs, she darted her eyes around, looking for someone to blame, someone to help her. "I didn't mean to," she cried, and everything stood still for a moment. Lily stepped forward instinctively, kneeling down to the girl's level. "Hey, it's okay," she said softly. "It was just an accident. But they're going to be mad at me. I didn't mean to." The little girl screamed back, tears streaming down her red cheeks. "Who's going to be mad?" Lily pressed gently, realizing the misunderstanding was growing into something much bigger. She could sense the whispers rising behind her, laughter tinged with judgment spilling forth from the crowd. "Let us clean this up together." The little girl shook her head, her voice trembling. "They think I'm a thief because I took a cookie." A wave of heat washed over Lily. "What? You took a cookie?" she asked, shocked but trying to remain calm. "From where?" The girl pointed at a nearby stall where friendly faces awaited, ready to serve up smiles along with sweets. "From the table, but there were so many. I thought I could have one." Her voice faltered as if she was apologizing for even thinking it. Lily felt her heart squeeze for the girl as the murmur from the crowd intensified. There was a sharp judgment in their gaze that made her skin crawl. "But it's okay. You're just a kid wanting a treat. It's not stealing if no one said no." The crowd's chatter seemed louder now. "I knew it. Bad kids." Someone called out, another voice chimed in, "Where's the adult? Who watches them?" It hit her like a flood. The little girl didn't just need a friend, she needed someone to stand up for her. "Listen." Lily called out, and the clamor quieted. What if everyone here helped her pick it all up instead of calling names? Making mistakes is how we grow. Nathan, still hanging back by the sidelines, watched with uncertainty. But then, as if pulled by an invisible force, he stepped closer, looking torn. Lily turned her attention back to the girl. "How about I help you get a new cookie? We could ask the nice lady over there to give us one as a team." The girl blinked, still unsure but a glimmer of hope breaking through her fear. "Really? Really? Lily exclaimed. Cheering grew suddenly, ripples of curiosity and camaraderie sweeping through the crowd. Even a few hands reached down to help lift the table back up. Barry joined in as he collected up the broken cookies, his demeanor shifting to something more supportive. As the atmosphere began to shift, Nathan's expression softened. Watching how everyone rallied around for the girl made him think perhaps being part of something was not as scary as it seemed. Lily felt the warmth of something powerful growing among them. They weren't just cleaning up a mess, they were standing together. A small victory was blossoming amidst the chaos, revealing more than just a garden. It was a community coming together, but clenching onto hope didn't feel complete yet. As the little girl wiped her tears away, Lily caught Nathan's eye. His face reflected the hint of a challenge surfacing within a decision that teetered on the edge. Are you with us? She found herself asking him, unsure of what he might say, but feeling her heart race with hope. His brows furrowed, mouth opening as if to speak, then pausing. In that second, the weight of Nathan's choice hung thick in the air, the noise of the crowd fading as they awaited his response. What would he decide? Would this fragile moment lead to something more? Nathan took a deep breath, his heart pounding even louder in his chest. The weight of the moment felt surreal. All eyes were on him, a mix of sympathy, curiosity, and pressure hanging in the air. Did he dare to step forward, to embrace vulnerability, or did he retreat to his corner, wrapped in anonymity? Yeah, I'm with you. Of course, he finally managed, his voice quieter than he intended but filled with a sudden determination. As soon as the words left his lips, a wave of relief washed over Lily. Great! Let us do this together, she beamed at the little girl, who looked at Nathan through tear-streaked cheeks, her wide eyes sparking with hope. At that moment, something shifted in the crowd. It was subtle and understanding passing through the onlookers. They realized that in uniting to assist, they weren't just mending a mess, they were also mending reputations, lifting spirits, and creating a space of grace. One by one, more people stepped forward to lend a hand, moving into action without waiting for anyone to ask them. Lily led the way back to the stall where the cookies were displayed like jewels awaiting their rightful owners. Let us ask for a cookie, okay? She whispered to the little girl, who had started to smile as she brushed the last tears off her face. I want to say I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. The girl said softly, her voice trembling with sincerity and hope. That's sweet of you, Nathan chimed in, lowering himself to her height. But remember, you didn't do anything wrong. You just made a mistake. We all do. With newfound courage, the girl nodded and bounced just a little on her toes, ready to approach the stall. When they reached the friendly lady behind the table, she offered a warm, inviting smile. What can I help you with, young lady? I'm sorry about the cookies. I didn't mean to take one, the little girl stuttered, her small voice carrying the weight of her worry. Can I please have a cookie? Of course, sweetie. The lady's smile widened. You can have one, or two. They're here for everyone. The girl's face lit up. It was as if the world transformed at that moment, the shadows dissipating, replaced by the warmth of acceptance and kindness. As Lily watched the little girl reach for a shiny chocolate chip cookie, she felt a flicker of hope radiate through the crowd. The more they saw compassion in action, the more the murmurs of judgment fell silent. Faces that once lined with disbelief began to break into smiles, and laughter broke through the tension. Nathan straightened up, his eyes gleaming. Looks like we're all going to end up with cookies. This wasn't so scary after all, he said, grinning at Lily. I told you, sometimes you just have to jump into the mess. Lily laughed, thrilled to see Nathan embracing the moment. The little girl took a hesitant bite of her cookie, and as she chewed, her eyes expanded with joy. It's the best cookie ever, she declared, her laughter ringing sweetly in the air. Lily glanced at Nathan, feeling an unexpected surge of gratitude for his presence. See? Sometimes it really does take a village, she said softly, her heart swelling. But as the cheerfulness enveloped them, an unexpected figure emerged from the crowd. An older man, dressed sharply in a tailored suit, stood watching with his arms crossed. He didn't seem impressed, his expression hard and scrutinizing. "Is this what you call community? A little girl crying over a cookie? How pitiful," he remarked, his booming voice cutting through the laughter. The mood shifted instantly, and the crowd fell silent. Lily's stomach twisted as she felt the heat of scrutiny and judgment reignite in the air. "What's his deal?" Nathan whispered, concern etching his brow. Lily took a deep breath. "I don't know," she said, determination building in her voice. "But whatever it is, we can't let it spoil this moment." Gathering every ounce of courage she had, she stepped toward the man, ready to confront whatever storm he was about to unleash. Would they allow his cold demeanor to dampen the spirit of hope they had built? Or could she somehow turn this difficult moment into an opportunity for understanding? With her heart racing, she prepared for his response, knowing this could change everything. Lily took a steadying breath, feeling a rush of warmth flush through her. The man's piercing gaze seemed to magnify every ounce of doubt she had ever felt. However, she couldn't back down now, not when she had felt such warmth and connection from the crowd moments ago. "Excuse me," she said, her voice unwavering as she approached him. "What you just said, that little girl has been brave. She made a mistake, and now she's learning from it. That's what this is all about." The man raised an eyebrow, his expression unyielding. "A mistake? Is that what you call it?" "She was caught stealing," he stated firmly. "What lesson does it teach to commend such behavior?" Lily felt a tight knot forming in her stomach. "But you see, it wasn't intentional. In fact, it brought us all together," she pressed on, gesturing to the crowd, who were now watching this exchange with a mix of concern and curiosity. "We're showing her that it's okay to make mistakes and that kindness is more powerful than judgment." Nathan, sensing the tension, stepped up beside her, adding his voice for support. "It's a community, sir. We're here to lift each other up, not tear each other down." For a brief moment, the man shifted his gaze, as if weighing their words against whatever judgment he carried. Lily watched the subtle change in his expression. If only she could reach him. The crowd remained silent, hanging on to every word, caught in the whirlwind of emotions. What if the lesson today is about second chances? Isn't that what we all need sometimes? Nathan continued, his sincerity palpable. As the man contemplated their words, a small voice rang out from behind them. "Yeah. I just wanted a cookie." It was the little girl, her small frame standing tall with cookie crumbs dusting her cheeks, the joy in her eyes unclouded by the previous encounter. Those words hung in the air, knitting the fragile atmosphere with innocence. The older man's gaze softened, just a fraction, as if a crack had appeared in his armor of scorn. "All right," he began, his tone gravitating towards confusion rather than anger. "But how does this help anyone?" "Because we need to show her that kindness outweighs fear and shame," Lily implored, feeling the urge to reach out, to tug at his heart. "Community is built on understanding, not punishment. What harm is there in supporting a little girl learning a big lesson?" Her words seemed to echo amongst the crowd, sparking whispers of agreement as they watched the man's facade crumble just a little more. As the tension eased, Nathan offered the man an encouraging smile. "You know, we all have our hard days. Maybe you can join us in building something positive instead." That suggestion caught the man off guard. Surprise flickered in his eyes. Would he really allow himself to step into this warmth, shift his stance? Just then, a shout cut through the air. The sound of laughter and chatter jolted everyone back to the jovial spirit they had just fought to uphold. A group of teenagers had come forth, clutching homemade signs that read, "Kindness is key." They joined the scene, their exuberance infectious, instantly lifting the mood. Lily glanced at Nathan, her heart racing in delight. If only they could spark a flame of change here, make this a moment of true reflection. "I guess we'll find out together," Nathan said, nudging her shoulder lightly with a grin. But just as Lily turned back to the man, ready to offer him another chance to join them, she felt a shiver run through her. The air had shifted again. Why was that other figure moving closer through the crowd? A tall woman, dressed in a casual sweatshirt, her face unreadable, appeared to be headed straight for the older man. Lily's heart sank as she sensed a shift. What if this newcomer brought more chaos into this fragile moment of hope? Was it possible for them to cement understanding, or were they facing an even bigger storm? Lily's palms grew clammy. She stepped forward again, this time with real urgency. Could this be the moment where everything hung in the balance? The woman moved through the crowd with a calm determination that caught everyone's attention. With each step, Lily's heart raced. There was something about her presence that felt electric, as if she held the weight of unanswered questions pressing on her shoulders. When the woman reached the older man, she hesitated for just a moment, allowing her gaze to sweep across the scene, the concerned faces of the crowd, the anxious expressions of Lily and Nathan, and of course, the little girl, still covered in cookie crumbs, blissfully unaware of the weight of this encounter. "Dad?" The single word slipped from her lips, and it echoed through the heavy silence, drawing a gasp from several onlookers. Lily's eyes widened. This was the man's daughter. The turmoil of emotions racing through her mingled with a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, this was the push needed to bridge the divide that had formed. "Rachel?" The older man responded, his voice cracking with surprise as he regarded her. His facade seemed to falter even further at the sight of her. Rachel stepped closer, letting the fabric of her sweatshirt drape slightly over her shoulders, shielding her from the heat of the moment. "You don't have to do this," she urged, her voice steady yet soft. "You know this isn't right. She's just a kid." Lily watched as Rachel's gaze shifted to the little girl. "You wanted a cookie, didn't you?" she asked, crouching down to meet the girl's eye level. "And you were brave enough to ask, right?" The little girl nodded enthusiastically, still savoring the sweet, innocent joy of her cookie. Rachel smiled, her expression radiating warmth that felt like a balm over the gathering storm. "Sometimes, we make mistakes," Rachel continued, glancing back at her father. "But it's our choice whether we make them into lessons or punishments." Lily felt a swell of emotions. Could they really change the tide together? Would this moment break through the walls built on anger and misunderstanding? "But what of the consequences, Rachel?" The man replied, his voice softened but still carrying an edge. "She can't just steal and get away with it. It's about context," Rachel said firmly. "We're not letting her off the hook. We're showing her how to learn from this with kindness instead of fear." The tension in the air shifted again. This time it felt less like an argument and more like a conversation, like a hand reaching out to mend the fracture caused by harsh judgments. Rachel turned to face the crowd, her voice carrying the urgency of someone who truly cared. "We all want understanding, don't we? We all know what it feels like to be scared of making a mistake." A ripple of nodding heads and murmurs of agreement surged through the crowd. Hope began to weave its way through the gathering. Lily felt an ember of inspiration ignite within her. "We're all capable of compassion," she said aloud, her heart racing alongside her passion. "What if we taught that instead of pointing fingers?" Just then, the older man's expression changed, shadows of doubt flickering behind his eyes as he took in his daughter's words and the sea of support surrounding them. He began, catching himself, looking from Rachel to the little girl. In that moment, the wall he had built seemed to tremble, edging closer to crumbling. But before this fragile moment of revelation could solidify, another shout broke in. "Hey! Is that the girl who stole the cookie?" A teenage boy with a smirk stepped forward from the crowd, causing the warmth to flicker back towards discomfort. Lily's heart sank once more. Would they be pulled back into the cycle of judgment? Would all this progress come crashing down? Determined, she caught Rachel's eye, knowing that whatever happened next could either unite them all or force them into retreat once again. What would Lily do to inspire the crowd before it spiraled into chaos? How could she turn their eyes back to compassion? Lily felt the air thicken with tension as the teenage boy stepped forward. His voice dripped with sarcasm, and she could sense the crowd shifting, their excitement eclipsed by uncertainty. The kindling of hope from Rachel's words threatened to flicker out. "Isn't that your dad over there, Rachel?" He jeered loudly, earning chuckles from a group of his friends. "You sure you want to be a part of this? Your dad could use a lesson in parenting." In a flash, Rachel's body stiffened. The warmth in her demeanor began to cool, a frown creasing her brow. Lily could see the hurt in her eyes as she processed the taunt. It wasn't just an attack on her father, it was a blow to everything she just built. "Stop it," Rachel said, her voice rising, but firm. "This isn't about them. This is about learning." But the boy only rolled his eyes, stepping closer, reveling in the spotlight. "Learning? You mean letting them get away with it? I'd love to know how you plan to make that work." Lily's heart raced. She could feel the crowd's mood shift dangerously again, the balance teetering on the edge of hostility. She took a deep breath, searching for a way to steer the tide back to compassion. "Isn't it funny," she spoke suddenly, surprising herself with her boldness, "how easy it is to throw stones when we're all standing on shaky ground." The crowd quieted while they turned their attention to her. The boy's facade faltered for a moment, confusion replacing the smirk on his face. "What do you mean?" he asked, wary now. "Look around." Lily gestured widely at the gathering crowd. "Each one of us has been lost at some point, feeling judged and misunderstood. It's scary to admit when we've made mistakes. Sometimes, it's easier to point fingers at others to deflect the judgment from ourselves." Through the silence, she spotted a nodding head belonging to a mother holding her toddler. Another person, an older gentleman with tired eyes, shifted his stance as if he could relate. "You see that little girl?" Lily continued, her voice steady, "She was just trying to be brave. We should be teaching her about kindness and understanding, not how to cower in fear." Rachel glanced back at the little girl, whose eyes sparkled with innocence, still oblivious to the brewing storm around her. "Isn't that the better lesson?" Lily pressed on, her heart bursting with hope. "We're all in this community together. Let us show compassion where it's needed most. Because if we don't, what kind of future are we building?" A ripple of murmurs spread through the crowd again. There were heads nodding in agreement, expressions softening. The teenage boy blinked, caught off guard, as the laughter faded. It seemed even he was beginning to comprehend the weight of the moment, a pause for reflection instead of ridicule. "Maybe, just maybe," Rachel echoed Lily's sentiment, her voice growing stronger, "we're all here today to learn. We can do better." The older man stood quietly, shaking his head slightly, still processing. Lily could see the seeds of doubt in his eyes beginning to bloom into something else, curiosity, maybe even acceptance. But before the atmosphere could fully shift back toward resolution, another voice broke through, sharp and accusatory, "So you're saying it's okay to steal now? That's the lesson?" It was a woman in the crowd, arms crossed defiantly, challenging the very compassion they were trying to nurture. Lily felt her heart sink again. Would they slip back into the old way of thinking? Would hope sink beneath the waves? As silence crept in, the path forward felt uncertain. Lily turned towards Rachel, desperately seeking a sign that they could still find their footing. What would Rachel say to disarm the tension? Could they gather enough strength from the crowd to counteract the negativity? The air crackled with anticipation, leaving everyone waiting for an answer. As the weight of the crowd's expectation hung in the air, a spark of inspiration ignited within Lily's heart. She could see the fear in the faces of her friends, the little girl's uncertainty, and even the harsh lines etched on the critic's face, a combination of their insecurities and doubts mirrored back at them. Her voice came out, steady and clear like a beacon in the storm. "No," she said, stepping confidently forward. "None of this is about stealing, but about understanding. It's not about letting anyone get away with something wrong, it's about showing how we can lift each other up when we stumble." Lily took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her own words. We all make mistakes, most of us in ways we can't even see. Learning from those mistakes is what truly matters. Isn't that what we want for our community? A chance to grow, to become better together. The crowd seemed to breathe with her, the tension easing just enough for hope to perch on the edge of their hearts. Rachel stepped forward, the determination in her stance a mirror of Lily's. Today isn't just about a cookie or an accident, it's about all of us choosing to support one another instead of tearing each other down. Living in fear is never the answer, it's how we understand each other's stories that can truly help. Her father stood quietly, the facade of rigidness softening under this warmth of compassion radiating from his daughter and the community. She could see the challenge still in his expression, but something deeper began to unfold as he gazed over to that little girl, who still savored her cookie. There was a flicker of reflection there, possibly recognition, possibly understanding. Lily seized the moment, her heart thrumming. What if we each took a step toward compassion? What if we pledged to support each other, clapping for our successes and holding hands through our failures? Wouldn't that be revolutionary? The crowd's murmurs flared once again, this time with anticipation rather than skepticism. Eyes began to light up, mirroring the genuine connection they felt. One by one, people began to step forward, sharing their own stories of misunderstanding, moments when they'd been judged for things they hadn't meant to do, or when they felt the sting of harsh words to mar. Finch, now fully engaged, said, I've made my fair share of mistakes too, and I'm learning how to do better, especially right now. The older man who had first stirred dissent took a step back, his expression changing. I didn't mean to hurt anyone, he said quietly. This isn't the first time I've felt like an outsider, either. The woman who had challenged Lily's plea softened, reflecting on her own doubts. Maybe we've all been scared of judgment and afraid to reach out. Suddenly, the mood shifted, warmth spreading through the gathering like the sun breaking through a thick winter-esque cloud. They were washing away old fears, allowing understanding to take root in place of judgment. As hands began clasping together, Lily felt exhilaration surge through her. She had ignited something inside them. The little girl stood beside her, clutching her cookie like a trophy, an emblem of community more significant than any single mistake. Let's take a step forward, Lily said aloud, her voice ringing with hope, to create something beautiful from today. Together, we're going to build that garden the same way we're building trust and compassion instead of walls. As cheers erupted and plans for the community garden flourished anew, the atmosphere shimmered with shared light, voices raised in excitement and creativity. Lily, Nathan, Rachel, and others gathered ideas, envisioning raised beds filled with delicious vegetables, flowers edging pathways, and a space alive with laughter and connection. In that moment, Lily knew they had shifted the course of their town story. They were not just a community at odds, they were a family woven together not just by proximity but by understanding, empathy, and resilience. Their journey would unfold in the nighttime stars above, full of potential and promise, and as laughter danced around, she turned to Nathan, who wore a big smile, as if he had finally found his own place within their story. Together, they were ready to dive into that future, hand in hand, and as the sun set, the glow of their determination lingered in the air, a testament to the strength found in their unity, a spark for everyone willing to open their hearts to understanding. This is the vision that would blossom on the horizon. Now, if you felt the magic of this transformation, if it touched your heart, this is your moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, every click counts. Comment below, sharing your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans know how important your support is to keep this channel growing and shining.